All right, let's do this. We're diving into Disney's Hercules today. You've given us a ton of material, including those Wikipedia bits.
Yeah, it's a good mix. Should be fun.
It's going to be epic. Get ready to uncover some, well, Herculean secrets about this animated classic. We're talking deep dives into characters, behind-the-scenes stuff, the whole enchilada.
I love it. It's amazing how much there is to dig into, even with a film that's been around for a while. We're not just looking at the story, but the choices made, the people involved, and how it's all been seen over time.
Exactly. So to kick things off, let's talk about the source material.
Hmm.
We've all got Hercules in our heads from Disney, but how much did they actually borrow from those old Greek myths?
See, now that's where things get really interesting. The movie definitely plays a little loose with the original myth of Heracles, like Hera. She's a big deal in the myths, right? Always causing trouble for Hercules.
Yeah, the classic evil stepmother.
Right. But in the film, almost non-existent. Instead, you've got Hades as the main bad guy. Makes sense for a story, though, I think.
Oh, for sure. Way more dynamic villain to play with. Plus, I mean, trying to fit Zeus's, let's just say his side adventures, into a kid-friendly movie.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a Herculean task in itself.
Totally. They definitely streamline things for the younger viewers. But even with the changes, you still get that big, epic feel, the adventure, all the things we love about those myths.
Like, absolutely. They captured the spirit for sure.
And don't forget the humor.
Yeah.
That classic, almost screwball comedy vibe mixed with some very 90s pop culture references.
Mm.
I mean, those muses narrating like a Greek chorus on MTV.
Pure genius.
So clever. Right. It's amazing how they blended that humor with modern stuff to make the story timeless, but also so 90s. You see it with Hercules' popularity mirroring, say, Michael Jordan back then.
That's a great point. Like, Disney was holding up a mirror to celebrity culture, but, with gods and monsters.
Totally. So smart. Okay, but we can't talk about Hercules without the voices. James Woods is Hades. I mean, come on.
What a performance.
Yeah.
It delivered like a comedic machine gun. So fast, so funny.
Seriously. It's hard to imagine anyone else pulling that off. I read somewhere that they were thinking about big names, even Jack Nicholson for a while.
Oh, yeah, there were some A-listers in the mix. But honestly, I think Woods nailed it. He brought that perfect manic energy to Hades. Scary but hilarious, tough to do.
You're telling me. Speaking of perfect, we've got to talk about Danny DeVito as Phil. Born to play that grumpy satyr.
Oh, there's a great story about that. So Red Buttons actually auditioned for Phil, but he told everyone, they're going to give it to DeVito, right?
No way.
And what do you know? The directors went straight to DeVito while he was filming Matilda, and boom, he's in.
That's wild. Talk about fate. And of course, we can't leave out Susan Egan, our amazing Megara. And to think, she almost didn't get the part.
Her story is all about not giving up. She'd voiced Belle on Broadway, so she knew Disney. But Alan Menken, the composer, he didn't think her voice was right for Meg. Too sweet, maybe.
Really? That's surprising. Menken loves those big Disney voices. What changed his mind?
Well, Egan wouldn't take no for an answer. She got an audition, blew everyone away, and the rest is history. They even wrote I Won't Say I'm in Love, specifically for her. A previous song just didn't fit.
Which is crazy because that song is iconic. Perfect for Meg. Okay, we've talked voices, but now the visuals. Hercules has such a distinct look, and that's largely because of Gerald Scarfe. His style is so bold, so different from other Disney movies.
Definitely. He pulled from Greek vase paintings and caricature. Bold lines, big features, the use of empty space, it's all there. He made over 700 drawings for the film, but, that style wasn't exactly easy for the animators.
Right, because those classic Disney films have that softer, rounder look. Translating Scarfe must have been a real challenge.
Oh, for sure. It was a tough one. They brought in a special production stylist to help make it work, to bridge the gap between Scarfe's vision and traditional animation. A delicate balance, but they nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it. And the result is unforgettable. One scene that blows me away is the Hydra fight, that mix of old-school animation and early CGI. So impressive for its time.
That sequence was a massive undertaking. They started with a clay model of the Hydra, then used that to make a digital skeleton for the CGI. You want to hear something crazy? 13 people worked for almost a year and a half on that scene alone.
Wow, that's dedication. And speaking of visually impressive, how they did Olympus. That dreamy, ethereal look that was all done with a special morphing technique. Blending painted backgrounds and classic animation.
It's really clever, that otherworldly vibe. It's like you're stepping into a dream. Super innovative for the time.
It adds so much to the magic. But, for all its strengths, Hercules did have its critics.
Mm.
Some people found the animation style jarring and the music, while catchy, didn't quite hit that iconic level of some other Disney scores.
True. Mixed reactions for sure. Some thought the visuals were too stylized, the music fun, but maybe lacking the staying power of, say, The Lion King or Aladdin.
And it didn't do as well at the box office as some of its predecessors.
Yeah, some blame it on the competition that summer, big movies like Men in Black. Others thought the humor, though clever, might have been a bit too niche.
There was also some controversy about how they depicted Greek mythology, especially in Greece itself. Some folks felt Disney took too many liberties with their history and culture.
And that's an important thing to think about. While the movie's a ton of fun, it reminds us that adapting stories, especially culturally significant ones, requires sensitivity and awareness.
Absolutely. But even with the criticisms, Hercules left its mark on pop culture. We got a whole animated series, a planned sequel that sadly never happened.
Oh, that sequel, Hercules II, The Trojan War, it got pretty far along. The story was all about Hercules and Megara after the Trojan War. They even had a finished script.
No kidding. What went wrong?
When John Lasseter came in as Disney's head honcho, he decided to scrap all those direct-to-video sequels. Hercules II was caught in the crossfire, unfortunately.
Oh, bummer. Well, at least we got the prequel, Hercules, Zero to Hero. And don't forget the Broadway musical.
Right. And we can't forget about the live-action remake that's in the works.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Guy Ritchie, the guy who did the live-action Aladdin, is directing. And the Russo brothers, the producers, have this idea to make it super modern, even drawing inspiration from TikTok. A TikTok-inspired Hercules. Now, that's an interesting concept. I'm curious to see how that pans out. But you know what? No matter how the remake turns out, the original Hercules has a special place in so many people's hearts.
It's a classic for a reason. There's just something about that blend of mythology, humor, and heart that still resonates. Decades later, and it's still got that magic.
Absolutely. But now I want to hear from you. What stands out to you about Hercules? Is it the animation, the music, the characters? What clicked with you? Think about it. We'll come back to that in a bit.
It's funny, right? Like a movie so light and fun can also have these deep themes running through it.
It's true. That whole idea of finding your place, feeling like you don't belong, it's something we've all felt.
Exactly. I mean, Hercules starts off as this awkward teen, totally unsure of himself. He's got all this power, but no clue how to use it for good. It's only when he embraces who he is, both physically and emotionally, that he becomes a true hero.
And it's not like it's easy for him. He's got to go through that crazy training with Phil, fight all those scary monsters, and then, in the end, make this huge sacrifice.
Oh man, that scene where he jumps into the river Styx to save Meg gets me every time. Risking his own immortality for love. So powerful. You really see how far he's come from that clumsy, insecure kid.
It shows that being a hero isn't about being strong, but about the choices you make, the sacrifices you make for others.
You nailed it. And they deliver that message with so much humor and heart. Even Hades, the villain, is hilarious.
He isn't. The one-liners, the size, it's all perfect, like the ultimate frustrated boss. But his job is running the underworld.
That's what makes it so good. Action, adventure, romance, and you're laughing the whole time. And then on top of that, you've got these amazing songs.
Don't forget those gospel-singing muses, the sassiest narrators ever.
Such a great addition, like a classic Greek chorus, but with a modern musical twist. They move the story, give commentary, and are just plain funny.
Oh, and go the distance? Chills every time.
It's the ultimate Disney anthem, right? Chasing your dreams, beating the odds, never giving up, something we can all connect with.
Definitely inspiring, but also kind of bittersweet. That longing for something more just hits you.
Speaking of connecting, it's incredible how Hercules keeps finding new fans. You have the TV series, the video games, that Broadway show.
Definitely a story with legs. Why do you think that is?
I think Disney did a great job of taking an old story and making it fresh. They added humor, heart, all those memorable characters.
And let's not forget the animation.
Yeah.
Still looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. That blend of traditional and computer animation, groundbreaking back then. The Hydra scene, a total game changer, paved the way for what we see in animation now.
It's incredible how far it's come. But even with all the new tech, there's just something timeless about Hercules. It's a movie you can watch over and over.
Totally agree. And it's a great reminder that we all have the potential for greatness, even if we don't always feel like heroes. We can all go the distance if we really want to.
Love that. Okay, but now I want to hear your take. What's the biggest thing you got from Hercules? What message or moment really spoke to you?
For me, it's that idea that heroism isn't about muscles or, doing these big flashy things. It's the choices you make, the sacrifices you're willing to make for other people, and finding that strength inside yourself to overcome challenges.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that heroes come in all forms. You don't have to be a demigod to have a hero's heart. Right?
Exactly. It's something we can all strive for, no matter who we are or what we do.
We've talked about how Hercules impacted audiences and pop culture, but what about animation itself? What do you think it brought to the table?
That's a good question. Hmm. I think one of the biggest things was its willingness to experiment with this look. It came out when Disney was really known for a certain style,
Hmm.
like Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin, all soft lines and romance.
Oh, definitely. Hercules was different. Bolder, more angular, with those strong lines and exaggerated features, almost like a caricature.
Exactly. And remember, that wasn't a hit with everyone back then. Some people thought it was too weird,
Hmm.
but it really opened the door for other animated movies to try different things visually.
Like it showed that animation could be more than just, cute and cuddly. It could be edgy, fun, visually striking in a new way.
I think so. And you can see that influence in later films, like The Emperor's New Groove, that playful energy, the unique art style inspired by Inca art, even non-Disney stuff like The Road to El Dorado, with its stylized look and ancient influences.
So it really pushed the boundaries, let animators play with different looks and ideas.
Totally. And you see that legacy today.
We talked about Hercules reimagining those Greek myths. What do you think the future holds for these ancient stories? Well, we keep seeing them, reinterpreted for new audiences.
I think these Greek myths, with their themes of love, loss, heroism, they'll always be around. They've been retold for centuries, and I don't see that stopping.
It's like they're a part of us. They show up in books, art, even the way we talk every day.
Exactly. And as our world changes, so will how we see these myths. We're already seeing more diverse and inclusive representations, which is great. Like casting a black actress as Medusa, that's a far cry from the classic monster image.
It is. It's great to see these stories told from new perspectives, challenging old ideas, and showing the complexity of the world.
It's like breathing new life into them, keeping them relevant.
That's what makes them so cool. They're not just stories. They're reflections of us, our hopes, our fears, all of that.
Totally. And that's why movies like Hercules, even with the changes they made, still connect with us. They tap into that feeling of wanting something bigger, of finding meaning and purpose in our lives.
This has been an amazing deep dive into Hercules. From the myths to the animation, it's been quite a journey.
A Herculean effort for sure.
We hope you've enjoyed the ride. And remember, whether you're a diehard fan or just discovering Hercules, there's always more to learn. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and as Hercules would say, go the distance.